Amelia adjusted her apron as she prepared for another day at the university cafeteria. The aroma of freshly ground coffee filled the air, blending with the hum of students arriving for their morning classes. She smiled to herself, thinking about how that small establishment had become her refuge in recent years. With her brown hair tied in a messy bun and honey-coloured eyes, Amelia was the picture of persistence. At 22, she balanced her life between studying literature at the prestigious local university and working at the cafeteria to pay the bills and avoid overburdening her family. Born in a simple neighbourhood on the outskirts of the city, Amelia grew up watching her parents work tirelessly to provide a better life for her and her two younger siblings. Her father, a skilled mechanic, and her mother, a talented seamstress, had taught her from an early age the value of hard work and honesty. The cafe was a welcoming space, with exposed brick walls decorated with shelves of used books and paintings of bucolic landscapes. Rustic wooden tables were scattered throughout the space, creating cosy corners for students looking for a quiet place to study or chat. While preparing the coffee machines for the day, Amelia thought about her dream of becoming a writer. She always carried with her a worn notebook, where she jotted down ideas for stories and observations about the people she saw every day. For her, each customer who walked through the door was a potential character with a unique story to tell. The doorbell rang, announcing the arrival of the first customer of the day. Amelia looked up and saw a young man she had never seen before. He seemed a bit lost, looking around with an expression of curiosity mixed with nervousness. "Good morning. How can I help you?" Amelia asked with a welcoming smile. The young man approached the counter, his green eyes meeting hers with a shyness she found charming. "Good morning. A coffee, please. The simplest one you have." As she prepared the order, Amelia watched him discreetly. He wore modest clothes, but there was something about his demeanour that seemed different, as if he wasn't completely comfortable in his own skin. "Here is your coffee," she said, handing over the steaming cup. "You're new around here, aren't you? I've never seen you before." The young man took the cup carefully, as if it was something precious. "Yes, I just transferred here. My name is Owen." "Welcome, Owen. I'm Amelia. If you need tips about the university or the best places to study, just ask me." Owen smiled, and Amelia felt something stir in her chest. There was a kindness in his eyes that intrigued her. "Thank you, Amelia. I think I might really need some help. Everything here is so new to me." In the days that followed, Owen became a regular customer at the cafe. He always chose the same table in the corner, near the window, where he spent hours reading or making notes in a leather-bound notebook that Amelia found fascinating. One afternoon, while the cafe was quiet, Amelia decided to approach. "Can I sit for a bit? My feet are killing me," she said with a playful smile. Owen looked up from his book, appearing momentarily surprised, but soon smiled and gestured for her to join him. "Sure, please do." Amelia sat down, curious about the book he was reading. "What are you reading?" Owen turned the cover towards her. It was a collection of poems by Pablo Neruda. Amelia's eyes lit up. "Oh, I love Neruda. What's your favourite poem?" The conversation flowed naturally from there. They discovered a common interest in classical literature and poetry. Owen spoke passionately about the authors he admired, and Amelia found herself enchanted by the way he analysed each word, each verse. "You speak as if words were treasures," she commented, fascinated. Owen blushed slightly. "I guess I grew up in an environment where words had a lot of power. I learned to value them from an early age." Amelia nodded, thoughtful. There was something about the way Owen spoke that intrigued her. It was as if he carried knowledge beyond his years, a wisdom that didn't match his youthful appearance. In the following weeks, Amelia and Owen grew closer and closer. They started meeting outside the coffee shop, strolling through the university gardens, or visiting old bookstores in the city. Owen always seemed amazed by the simplest things: the sound of leaves under his feet, the smell of old books, the taste of an artisanal ice cream. On one of these outings, sitting on a park bench while watching children play, Amelia decided to share a little more about her life. "You know, it hasn't always been easy for me to be here," she began, looking at her hands. "My parents worked hard so I could study. Sometimes I feel guilty for not being able to help them more." Owen looked at her with a mix of admiration and understanding. "Amelia, what you do is incredible. Working and studying, pursuing your dreams. That requires a strength that few have." She smiled, feeling warmed by his words. "Thank you, Owen. Sometimes it's hard to remember that." "And what are your dreams?" he asked, genuinely interested. Amelia hesitated for a moment, but something in Owen's eyes encouraged her. "I want to be a writer, create stories that make people feel less alone, that inspire them to dream." Owen smiled, his eyes shining. "That's beautiful, Amelia. And I'm sure you will succeed. Your words already have the power to touch people." At that moment, Amelia felt something change between them. It was as if a deeper connection had formed, based on mutual understanding and admiration. The months passed, and the friendship between Amelia and Owen blossomed into something more. They studied together, shared dreams and fears, and little by little, Amelia found herself falling for that gentle and mysterious young man. Owen, for his part, seemed increasingly comfortable in his new environment. He made friends, participated in classes with enthusiasm, and even started helping Amelia in the cafeteria on the busier days. However, there were moments when Amelia would catch him with a distant look, as if he was carrying a burden she couldn't comprehend. One afternoon, Amelia was in the library researching for a new literature paper when, by chance, her eyes caught something that made her stop. On one of the available computers, a news page was open, apparently left behind by another student. The headline read, "Prince Owen of Alvernia attends diplomatic event in the capital during break from university studies." Below, there was an unmistakable photo. Owen, dressed in formal attire and with a completely different demeanor than she was used to. He stood alongside important figures, his expression serious and noble. Amelia froze. The surprise quickly gave way to confusion. She reread the headline and the articles several times, hoping to find some explanation that made more sense. The images and the description left no doubt. Owen, the kind and shy young man who sat at the cafe every day, was in fact a prince from a small kingdom called Alvernia. Suddenly many details began to fit together: his reserved demeanor, thoughtful looks, his curiosity about the everyday life of ordinary people. She felt a whirlwind of emotions, surprise, disbelief, and above all, a sense of betrayal. Why had he never told her the truth? How could he hide something so important from her? Later that same week, while they were walking together after a long afternoon of studying, Amelia decided she needed to confront him. They walked in silence for a few minutes until, unable to hold back her anguish, she suddenly stopped and turned to him. "Owen?" she said, her voice laden with tension. "Why did you never tell me who you really are?" Owen stopped too, clearly surprised by the question. His expression of surprise soon gave way to a mixture of apprehension and guilt. "Amelia, what are you talking about?" "I know," she continued, her voice more assertive. "I saw an article about you, about the Prince of Alvernia. I saw your picture, Owen. You lied to me this whole time." He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. "It wasn't a lie, Amelia. I just omitted that part of my life." "Omitted?" Amelia retorted, her voice trembling. "Don't you think it was something important enough for me to know?" Owen met her gaze. "I was afraid. Afraid that if you knew, things would change between us. I wanted you to know me for who I am, not for my title." Amelia felt a lump in her throat but didn't look away. "And now? What do you expect me to do with this? How can I trust someone who hides such a big part of themselves?" Owen extended his hand in a hesitant gesture, as if he wanted to touch her but was respecting her. "I didn't want to hurt you, Amelia. I just wanted to live a little like an ordinary person, to understand the world outside of mine. And you were the best part of that. You are the most real person I have ever met." Amelia took a deep breath, fighting back tears. "Owen, I need time. Time to process all this. I just hope that in the future you learn that honesty is the foundation of any relationship." She walked away, leaving Owen standing on the sidewalk, the expression of pain and regret etched in his mind. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions for Amelia. She felt betrayed, confused, and above all, hurt. How could she have fallen in love with someone who hid such a significant part of his identity? She took a leave of absence from the cafe where she worked, changed her schedule in the classes she shared with Owen, and immersed herself in her studies. Her nights were spent reminiscing about every moment they had shared, questioning whether anything had been real. Owen tried to talk to her several times. He left messages, appeared in places he knew she frequented, but Amelia was not ready to face him. It was during this period of reflection that Amelia began to write more intensely than ever. Her emotions poured onto the paper, creating stories about trust, identity, and the true meaning of love. Weeks passed, and gradually, Amelia's initial anger began to give way to a deeper understanding. She found herself thinking about all the times Owen had shown genuine curiosity about her life, about the challenges she faced. She remembered how he always valued the simple things, as if he were seeing the world with new eyes. One day, while organizing books in the university library, Amelia found a book about the history of Alvernia. Curious, she opened it and began to read. She discovered it was a small kingdom with a long tradition of rulers who valued education and the arts. The current king, Owen's father, was known for his humanitarian policies and his desire to modernize the kingdom. It was then that Amelia realized something important. Owen wasn't just pretending to be someone ordinary. He was genuinely seeking to understand a world different from his own, preparing himself to be a leader who understood the real needs of his people. With this new perspective, Amelia finally found the courage to confront Owen. She found him in his usual spot at the coffee shop, looking downcast and tired. "Owen," she said softly, approaching his table. He looked up, surprise and hope mixed in his eyes. "Amelia." She sat across from him, taking a deep breath before speaking. "I read about Alvernia, about your family. I think I'm beginning to understand why you did what you did." Owen nodded slowly. "I never meant to hurt you, Amelia. I came here to learn, to become someone capable of leading with wisdom and empathy. And then I met you, and for the first time in my life, I felt that someone saw me for who I really am, not for my title." Amelia reached out, lightly touching his hand across the table. "You could have told me before." "I know," he replied, the guilt evident in his voice. "I was afraid everything would change if you knew, that you would treat me differently, or worse, that you would distance yourself." "Like I'm doing now?" Amelia asked with a slight smile. Owen lowered his eyes. "I deserve this." Amelia sighed. "Owen, what hurt me wasn't you being a prince. It was you not trusting me enough to tell me. But I understand why you did it, and I realize that, with or without a title, you have always been true in your actions and words." Owen's eyes filled with tears. "Do you forgive me?" "I'm working on it," she answered honestly. "But I think we can start over, this time, with no secrets." In the months that followed, Amelia and Owen rebuilt their relationship, this time on the foundations of honesty and trust. Amelia learned more about the responsibilities Owen carried, and he, in turn, continued to marvel at her strength and determination. Together, they faced the challenges that arose. Amelia had to deal with the unwanted attention that came when her relationship with Owen became public. He, on the other hand, had to balance his duties as a prince with his desire to live a simpler life alongside her. A year after the revelation, Owen took Amelia to visit Alvernia. She was enchanted by the beauty of the small kingdom and the warm reception of the royal family. To her surprise, Owen's parents treated her with respect and affection, valuing her intelligence and life journey. During a walk through the palace gardens, Owen stopped and turned to Amelia. "You know, when I went to study at that university, I thought I would learn about the world out there. But the truth is, I learned much more about myself. And it was thanks to you." Amelia smiled, intertwining her fingers with his. "And I learned that sometimes fairy tales can be real, even if in a different way than we imagine." Owen knelt before her, taking a small box out of his pocket. "Amelia, you taught me what true love is, not the kind from books or stories, but real love, which requires work, honesty, and understanding. Will you marry me and rule Alvernia by my side, not as a fairy tale princess, but as the strong and incredible woman you are?" With tears in her eyes, Amelia pulled him into a tight embrace. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I do." And so the waitress who dreamed of being a writer and the prince who wanted to understand the world began a new chapter in their lives. Together they brought positive changes to Alvernia, implementing policies that valued education and the arts, always remembering the lessons they learned on their journey of love and self-discovery. Amelia never gave up on her dream of writing. She published books that inspired people from all walks of life, showing that true nobility comes from character, not titles. And every night before bed, she and Owen read together, sharing the love of words that united them from the beginning. Their story became a legend in Alvernia and beyond, not because it was a fairy tale, but because it was real, full of challenges, forgiveness, and true love. And they lived not happily ever after, but happily day by day, facing each new chapter of their lives together. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment with a rating from 1 to 5 to show how much you liked it. Also, watch the video that is now appearing on your screen. See you soon.